The 1950 Volkswagen Combi is not just a car, it is a legend. For generations, this iconic van has represented freedom, adventure, and a lifestyle that connects people with the road and with each other. The Combi, often called the Volkswagen Type 2, VW bus, or transporter, was the world's first minivan and became a symbol of the 1950s, 1960s, and 1970s counterculture. Restoring such a piece of history is not simply about fixing a car, it is about bringing back to life a cultural icon that touched millions around the world. This is the story of a 1950 Volkswagen Combi car restoration, a project by Burgoyne, known for their dedication to classic car craftsmanship, attention to detail, and respect for automotive heritage. When the 1950 Volkswagen Combi arrived at the workshop, it showed the scars of its long journey through time. Decades of use had left the body weathered, the paint faded, and the engine tired. The van carried with it stories of family trips, camping adventures, and perhaps even cross-country journeys filled with memories of laughter, music, and sunsets on the road. Seeing it in its initial condition, one could almost hear the whispers of history calling out to be revived. Restoring a vehicle like this requires more than mechanical skill, it requires patience, vision, and a true appreciation for the soul of the machine. The restoration process began with a careful inspection. Every detail mattered, from the frame to the smallest bolts. The team at Burgoyne documented each part before dismantling, ensuring that originality would be respected wherever possible. The 1950 model of the Combi is especially rare, making the restoration process even more delicate. Every panel, every curve, every line had to be treated with care to preserve its authenticity. Unlike modern vehicles, which can often be repaired with computer diagnostics and replacement parts, restoring a Volkswagen Combi requires traditional craftsmanship, welding, sanding, and handwork that honors the original manufacturing techniques. The body of the van was stripped down to bare metal. Rust had taken hold in several areas, a common issue with vehicles of this age. Carefully, the rusted sections were cut out and replaced with fresh sheet metal, shaped to match the original contours of the van. This stage of the project is always critical, as the integrity of the structure depends on the precision of the metalwork. The goal was not just to make it look new, but to make it strong enough to withstand decades more of adventures. Hours upon hours of sanding, smoothing, and aligning ensured that the Combi's famous curves and flat panels looked as they did when they rolled off the production line in the 1950s. Painting was the next chapter of this restoration story. Choosing the color is always a special moment because it defines the character of the restored vehicle. The 1950 Volkswagen Combi often wore classic two-tone paint schemes that gave it a cheerful and timeless appeal. For this project, the paint was carefully mixed to replicate the original shades used in the early models, capturing the vintage spirit of the van. Layer upon layer of paint and clear coat was applied, each layer polished until the surface shined like a mirror. The moment when the van first emerged from the paint booth was magical. The tired, faded vehicle had been transformed into a vibrant piece of art. Of course, a restoration is not just about the exterior. The heart of the Volkswagen Combi lies in its engine. The original 1950 Combi was powered by a small but reliable air-cooled engine, designed for efficiency and simplicity. When the team opened the engine bay, they were met with decades of wear. Every component had to be disassembled, cleaned, restored, or replaced. The crankshaft, pistons, and cylinders were examined in detail, and the carburetor was rebuilt to ensure smooth running. The goal was not to make the engine overly modern, but to keep it faithful to its heritage while ensuring it could handle today's roads. When the engine finally roared back to life after years of silence, it was more than just mechanics, it was history reborn. The interior of the Combi is another world entirely. For many owners, the inside of a Volkswagen van was more than just seats and panels, it was a home on wheels. Restoring the interior required a blend of originality and comfort. The seats were reupholstered with fabrics and patterns reminiscent of the early 1950s, while the wooden floor panels were sanded and polished to bring back their natural warmth. Every knob, handle, and switch was restored to look and feel just like it did over 70 years ago. Even the steering wheel, worn smooth by the hands of countless drivers, was restored to its original shine. For those who love camping, the Combi represents the freedom to travel anywhere and create a home wherever you park. That feeling was carefully preserved in this restoration. The details are what make a restoration stand out. The badges, emblems, and trim were polished until they gleamed. The headlights and taillights were restored with period-correct glass, and the chrome bumpers were refinished to perfection. Every window seal, every hinge, and every latch was tested and restored. This level of detail ensures that the van does not just look good in photos but stands the test of time in the real world. What makes this restoration so special is the story it tells. The 1950 Volkswagen Combi is not just a vehicle, it is a cultural symbol. It represents freedom, simplicity, and the spirit of adventure. From surfers loading their boards on top in California, to families driving through the countryside in Europe, to explorers camping in remote areas, the Combi has been part of countless life journeys. Restoring it means bringing back those stories and giving future generations the chance to experience the same joy. For Burgoyne, this project was not just about mechanics but about passion. Each member of the team poured hours of dedication into the work, knowing they were reviving a piece of history. The process took patience and skill, but the result is breathtaking. The restored Combi looks as if it just rolled off the assembly line in Wolfsburg in 1950, yet it carries with it the soul of every mile it has traveled since. When the restoration was complete, and the 1950 Volkswagen Combi rolled out of the workshop, it was more than a car, it was a time machine. Seeing it shine in the sunlight, hearing the hum of its engine, and stepping inside its beautifully restored cabin was like stepping back into an era when the road was open, and life was about simple pleasures. For those who see this van today, it is impossible not to smile. It radiates happiness, nostalgia, and a sense of freedom that is rare in modern cars. The story of this restoration is also an inspiration for car enthusiasts everywhere. It shows that no matter how old, worn, or forgotten a vehicle might be, with enough care and dedication, it can be brought back to life. The 1950 Volkswagen Combi is proof that classics are timeless, and their spirit will never fade. This project is a celebration of craftsmanship, history, and the love of the open road. So when you watch the journey of this Volkswagen Combi restoration, remember that you are not just looking at a car being repaired, you are witnessing a legend being reborn. A van that carried dreams across highways and through generations has been given a second chance to continue its story. Whether it becomes part of a collection, a showpiece at classic car events, or simply a vehicle that brings joy to its new owner, one thing is certain, the 1950 Volkswagen Combi will keep turning heads and sparking smiles for decades to come. This restoration by Burgoyne is a reminder of why we restore cars in the first place. It is about more than metal and engines, it is about preserving history, reviving culture, and celebrating the machines that have shaped our lives. The 1950 Volkswagen Combi is not just a restored car, it is a rolling piece of art, a tribute to an era, and a gift to future generations who will continue to be inspired by its charm. So, sit back, enjoy the story, and let the spirit of the 1950 Volkswagen Combi take you on a journey through time. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more incredible restorations, where history meets craftsmanship, and forgotten legends are given a new life on the road.